It's the defender, Oracle Team USA, versus the challenger, Emirates Team New Zealand. At stake, the oldest trophy in international sport. The 34th America's Cup has begun. 3 years in the making, the sailing world was on the edge of their seats yesterday when the duel between America and New Zealand began. There was drama from the outset.
Wow, really close moment, Sedge.
What an amazing start to this first race. There were lead changes. Emirates Team New Zealand has got it. Oracle Team USA have done it. A lead change, and the Americans are now in the lead. It is another lead change. Now New Zealand's out in front. And the top speeds in excess of 50 miles an hour. Fantastic! Look how close it is. The Kiwis were in their element and unstoppable. Team New Zealand goes up 2-0 over Oracle Team USA. Can America launch a comeback today? The September showdown continues. It's day number 2 of the 34th America's Cup. San Francisco, California is perhaps the world's best natural amphitheater for sailing and a perfect venue for the September showdown between Emirates Team New Zealand and Oracle Team USA. Hi, I'm Tucker Thompson with Nathan Outteridge. Yesterday, San Francisco delivered all we could have hoped for in the first day of the America's Cup. Drama, lead changes, and hard-won victories. The score is now 2-0 to Emirates Team New Zealand, and the stage is set for another standoff between two of the most talented teams in the sport of sailing. Emirates Team New Zealand, the challenger, are battle-hardened through the Louis Vuitton Cup Challenger Series. They are laser-focused on their task to win the America's Cup again, and there's a lot of pressure to do so. If they don't, there's rumor this may be the last Emirates Team New Zealand in the Cup. While Oracle Team USA holds a tight grip on the Cup, and they're not going to let it go without a fight. Though they're 2 down after yesterday, they're easily capable of matching the Kiwis, and there's a lot more racing to go. Look for sparks to fly today, particularly in the pre-start. Yesterday is where all the action went on, particularly right after the start, and it was a very aggressive Oracle Team USA, wasn't it?
Yeah, very aggressive Oracle Team USA yesterday. Jimmy Spittle really pushing hard around the race course, and we saw some extremely tight racing between both teams.
And we saw penalties flying, we saw lead changes. It's everything we could have expected between these two teams. They are the best in the business at what they do. But in the end, it was the Kiwis who proved dominant. Here's a look at Oracle Team USA's crew.
Oracle Team USA has a slightly different setup to Emirates Team New Zealand. The front two people here are also grinders. If you look closely today, you will see that Oracle Team USA lift and drop the dagger boards using a hydraulic system instead of ropes. This frees up the front two people to add to the 4 grinders here in the middle to be able to control the wings and the dagger board system. Here we have the trimmers. Joey Newton is lightning fast across the boat and works really closely with wing trimmer Kyle Langford. Yesterday was a big splash for these boys. Jimmy and JK didn't have their best days racing yesterday, losing both starts and making life difficult to win either race. Look for these guys to have clear communication in the pre-start to dominate today's racing.
At the Duckout Show moments ago, Oracle Team USA looked focused. They have to shift the momentum around in their favor, and yesterday you could see the intensity grow on Jimmy Spithill's face as the races wore on. It was clearly not the way he wanted the first day of the America's Cup to go.
Oh, it was a great day yesterday. I mean, the racing was fantastic. I think everyone really enjoyed it. Now, obviously, we would have liked to have won the races yesterday, but having said that, we learned a lot. We really went through a lot of the data, a lot of the video last night, and we're stronger for it today.
Here's today's crew list for Emirates Team New Zealand.
Adam and Giro, these guys here are responsible for lifting, dropping and managing the rake of the boards and all of the manoeuvres, ultimately responsible for foiling jibes. Here we have the grinders. Without the likes of Rob Waddell, an Olympic rowing gold medalist, the boys at the back of the boat would not be able to control the wing and the foils which allow the boats to fly. Glenn and James, they're responsible for trimming the jib and the wing. Glenn's a 14 times world champion and a silver medalist, and it's fair to say this team is in good hands. And at the back here we have the decision makers. Dean and Ray were on fire yesterday, winning both starts hands down. Let's see if they can keep it up today and increase their overall lead.
Emirates Team New Zealand have maintained a very businesslike manner throughout the Louis Vuitton Cup and yesterday's first day of the America's Cup. They just don't seem to get too high in their victories or too low in adversity, just determined. And I think that has a lot to do with Dean Barker's even-keeled leadership.
Well, today we just have to approach exactly as yesterday. We obviously know that we're competitive against Oracle now, so that little bit of doubt is sort of out of our minds. We know that the boats are very even in performance, so we have to sail well. So we'll attack the racing as aggressively as we have up until now.
The spectator crowds are building on shore here in San Francisco. The breeze is up, and so is the anticipation in start of race number 3. So here's the situation today on San Francisco Bay. There is heavy fog, particularly on the top of the course, while the bottom of the course near the city front is clear. But the breeze is building, Nathan, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get a race in.
Yeah, no doubt we're going to get racing in today. That fog is pretty thick at the moment, but watching the boats sailing around on the race course at the moment, the bottom half of the course is quite clear, and we'll have a look here and see what it is. 16 knots out there at the moment. We've got a little bit of flood, a 1-point-knot flood. And very similar to yesterday, the flood is a little bit later in the day, so expect the ebb to start later off today. But, you know, we're going to have some nice racing. I think the breeze is going to slowly build throughout the day, and we've just got to really keep an eye on that fog line to see how soon that breeze is going to increase.
And here's a look at the current, Nathan, coming in from the Golden Gate Bridge.
Well, as we see here on the right-hand side, quite a strong flood all the way down the right-hand side of the course. So expect them to be using the cone at the bottom of the course, and as they venture up to the top half of the course, you can see the ebb already starting there at the bridge. And even though these boats go extremely fast, the current still is really important around the racetrack.
And speaking of the racetrack, today, again, a 5-leg course starting between the 2 marks just below the Golden Gate Bridge. And the boats will sprint inshore right there towards the Yacht Club Peninsula. 2 laps, down, back up, 2 legs rather, and then the final leg, number 4, they head into the finish, and it is a sprint to the fans in front of America's Cup Park. You can see the boundary out on the edge of the course. The boats can't go much closer than that, but it is close enough for the fans on shore to get a great view of the racing.
Yeah, definitely. You know, there was lots of spectators down there watching the whole time, and At the moment, you can see there is plenty of fog over the race course, so it's going to be hard for our choppers to get a good view of the top half of this race course, but really looking forward to today's racing.
Well, we are too, and the first thing we begin with, of course, is the entry in the pre-start.
The first thing we see here is the entry to the starting area. The sequence starts with 2 boats separated on either side of the starting line, waiting for their turn to enter. At 2 minutes and 10 seconds before the start, the boat on the left side, or the port tack boat, is allowed to enter the starting box. At 2 minutes, the boat on the right-hand side, or the starboard tack boat, is allowed to enter from their side. The reason there isn't a time offset is to allow the port tack boat time to cross ahead of the right-of-way starboard tack boat and to avoid dangerous closing speeds. Once they enter, they're required to stay in the starting box until the start gun sounds. Both boats will be working on positioning and doing really important manoeuvres to ensure that they are controlling the situation. It is often the last-minute decision that will make or break a successful start. Knowing the game means understanding the rules, an integral part of sailboat racing at any level.
So Nathan, we've seen the weather, we've looked at the current. Give us an idea on the strategy if you were racing on the course today.
Yeah, it's a big day for both these teams, and you know they would have been going through the weather and having a look at this, and I think the big thing for their strategy is waiting to see what this fog's going to do. But to me, with the flood at the moment, it's going to be a pretty straightforward race up the cone around the bottom mark. So look for them to go around the left-hand mark looking downwind and then transition to the left-hand side of the course towards the top of the race.
So there is a look at the pre-start entry box. We are 20 seconds away from the first boat to enter, and it'll be these guys. Oracle Team USA, a 10-second advantage given to the port boat, the boat on the left in the start. That's done for safety reasons. In these overpowered catamarans, here we go, bow down. The pre-start of race number 3 about to get underway. There it is, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Oracle Team USA a little bit behind.
Yeah, again, really late here, 5 seconds late. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it's quite an important moment here. Just see how Emirates come in here. They look like they're a few seconds late as well, but expect them to enter here and roll straight into a jibe. And Jimmy's got a big decision to make here in this race.
And that decision is?
The decision is exactly when to turn around and come back to the line. We expect him to turn around in about 1 minute 30, and it's a question of attack or a jibe, and that often depends on where Dean's positioned himself.
Just look at the speed of those two boats ripping through the pre-start as we tick down the seconds. Minute 30, it's time to make a maneuver according to Nathan Outeridge, and you are spot on. Here comes Oracle Team USA, bow down in that jibe. And that slowed them down a bit.
Not a very good jibe there at all by these boys. They knew they needed to jibe, and I guess maybe rushed it slightly, and that's forced Dean to roll into attack now. So they've achieved what they wanted to achieve, but not the prettiest way to do it.
And what is that? Is that pre-start jitters? Is that nerves from being 2 down? What do you think?
I'm not sure. It could be just a conversation attack or a jibe. When you roll into attack, you need to take the lift out of the boards. When you roll into a jibe, you've got to increase the lift. So maybe they just got their board settings wrong there briefly.
Bow to bow now, 50 seconds to go. Both boats sprinting towards the starting line. It's a time on distance game at this point.
100%, and it looks like again here are both boats in similar positions to the last 2 races. Dean taking the windward end, and maybe they're a little bit late here because they're both charging back at the line pretty fast. 35 knots. He really wants to get across of Jimmy Spittle here at the moment.
20 seconds and counting. Emirates Team New Zealand has placed themselves between Oracle Team USA and the start. Here comes Spithill from behind. His bow's down. He's going for the line. New Zealand looks bow forward, but a little bit slower. The countdown to the start, and here we go.
All clear, all clear.
To me there it looked like they were both a little bit late. Dean got a little bit too close to the line, so hard to accelerate, and that might give Jimmy the chance to sail straight through underneath and lead around Mark 1 here.
There's a look at the wing wash coming off of Emirates Team New Zealand's wing, and it has not hit the Americans yet. Now, if Oracle Team USA can get into that yellow zone, overlapped inside, they may be able to round ahead.
And I think that's exactly what's about to happen. It's going to be touch and go, and he's sailing him off the course here. We've got great match racing action here. Awesome stuff. And that little luff there, you can see how that really put Dean off his game. And watch him, he's out of here. There's a protest being made here, so we've got heaps of action at Mark 1.
So a penalty flag flying from both boats, and what have we got here? That did fluster Dean Barker. You were absolutely right, and he got a penalty. The first penalty in the 34th America's Cup goes to the Kiwis.
Oh, how awesome is that? Jimmy's super aggressive on Mark 1, draws the penalty, and now he's going to roll into a jibe and hopefully just sail away down this run.
Well, that is the aggression you expected from Jimmy Spithill and Oracle Team USA. They came out with all guns blazing and have turned a penalty into a lead.
Yeah, definitely there, and they cleared the penalty very quickly there. It looks like they were able to slow the boat fast, so we've still got a really tight race here, and looked like a much better jibe there by Emirates Team New Zealand. You can see them gaining here all the time, and Jimmy's just got to say to the boys, all right, we won the start, we got the penalty, let's keep it simple and lead around the bottom mark here.
Let us know on the mode, Tommy, when you can. Go deeper if we can. A little deeper if anything, Cole. Guys, got me coming on. Push all the way to boundary.
You can hear the boys on board. They're talking about their mode. Jimmy asking Tom Slingsby behind him, tell me about the mode. What do you want me to do here? Tommy goes, we want to sail a little bit lower. Jimmy goes straight to Carl and says, make the wing deeper. Let's go lower.
Nathan, let's go back and look at a replay of that penalty around mark number 1. Here we go.
And Jimmy quite aggressive here. Gives him the luff right there. And a big bow down and into the barrelway. And these boats are going so fast. And we saw how aggressive he was yesterday. And finally he got the penalty he's been looking for.
72 feet long, capable of over 50 miles an hour. And just look at how close and how hard they whip those boats around. There you saw where the penalty occurred. Oracle Team USA pulls ahead. They're still ahead. Both teams are jibing on the left-hand side of the downwind run.
And this is the first time we've ever seen Emirates Team New Zealand behind on the first proper downwind leg. And let's just really have a good close look at what their plan is to get back into this race. We've seen how hard it is when you're trailing to get past. Let's see what their plan is now that they're behind.
So we'll pick a time to take right gate, I think, Dino. Push us over. If he goes for right gate, we'll take left as well.
So what you hear there is Ray talking to Dean, and he's talking about which bottom mark to go around. They want to go the right-hand mark, but ultimately I think they want to go the opposite mark to what Oracle do here.
Okay, and looking at the top of the screen, there are the stats coming off of each boat.
As you can see, very similar boat speeds, 38, 39 knots there, and Oracle again sailing slightly deeper, although I think they're doing a great job of just matching, and their VMGs are almost identical.
Throw a little one on here. A little bit lighter here, Jimmy. Might have to sail a bit higher.
We got 50 right this way, 40 the other, thinking one minute left.
Okay, Colin, let's get a fleece 36 here, okay? Yeah, I'm going to come up for you.
This way, 40 the other.
What are you thinking, JK?
That's eased.
I think I'm one of them left.
Little trim on.
Like the map.
You're hearing the conversation between Jimmy Spithill and John Kostecki aboard the lead boat, Oracle Team USA. New Zealand jibes, Oracle responds.
Last one.
Nice jibes from both teams there. Really good communication. I like how Oracle's sailing today. They've got their lead, they're having a good chat, they have a really good plan for the race.
And about 30 seconds in attack.
Well, this is the type of performance we expected to see this morning from Jimmy Spithill and crew.
Look at the leg.
Stand by, guys.
20. You know, they're really need this win to get it back into this America's Cup match. And before the show, Nathan, you told me you thought it was going to be one each with the early victory to Oracle Team USA, and you were spot on so far.
Shaping up the way, isn't it? Wouldn't it be great for the event to have these guys win this race? I know it's a long way from being over, but they really need this. They had 2 close races yesterday, and I always thought whoever leads around Mark 1 has a massive advantage, and look at that, already making gains down this first run.
So it's Oracle Team USA out in the lead and in control of the race as they whip around the leeward gate left side. The delta increasing for the Kiwis. The Kiwis choose the opposite gate, so we have a split as both teams head back upwind. There's the scene in San Francisco Bay, and sailing fans are getting the game they had hoped to see. Lead changes yesterday. New Zealand went into today in the lead, but in this race, Nathan Outeridge, it's America in command.
It is, yeah, a really good start there by Jimmy and set the pace, and they did one less jibe on that run. They've now had to do one extra tack, but to me it looks like they've stayed out of the current, which is in the middle of the course. They're coming up behind Alcatraz here, up the cone. But to me, they're looking slower in a straight line. So 22 knots on average there versus 24. So let's see if New Zealand can get back into the race here.
Let me know if you want to go faster, Jacob. Negative. Go.
You just heard the guys on board Oracle Team USA say they're switching right.
Yep, so that means they want to cross here. They don't want to tack on Team New Zealand. They're going to switch to the right-hand side. They're going to get the current relief behind Alcatraz, and they're going to take the starboard tack advantage here. So good comms there, and I'm really happy with where they're going here.
180. Go through. 130. Stand by, guys.
That is a much calmer looking Jimmy Spithill compared to yesterday's race.
3, 2,
And here comes the tack as they check in with Emirates Team New Zealand.
Yeah. Nice. Good attack, Tommy.
You heard them in the Dockout show earlier this morning saying we watched the footage, we reviewed everything, all the data, and they learn a lot. And I heard them say, yeah, nice tack there. I observed them start, you know, in their racing yesterday, they were losing a lot in the tacks. So now they've got to settle it down and just keep in control here. So to me, that looks like a really good tack before. And that one seems pretty nice as well. So they're coming along here and really tight to fence here on Emirates right now.
So the Americans have tacked right on top of the Kiwis, and the Kiwis will go right back. We have a classic tacking duel going on here in these AC-72 catamarans. The next move will be Oracle Team USA's.
2, 1, here we go.
Pushing it tight on that boundary there. You can see just ahead of that, those waves in the water from that helicopter shot. That's where they're now going to start to come out into the flood. So where they are at the moment is better current relief than where Emirates Team New Zealand is. But as they travel across here on starboard tack, they're going to go all the way to the left-hand side to the shore to get out of the current. So they've switched from the right-hand side at the bottom now to the left-hand side at the top, and it's a drag race to the shore from here.
So we're done with maneuvers for the time being. Now it's time to see who's got better legs as we sprint to the left side of the course. The view from on board Emirates Team New Zealand's director, Grant Dalton.
Looking to go a little fast out of it. Maybe shooting through to leeward, okay, with a good tag. Boundary tag.
Nathan, you told me earlier that you thought Emirates Team New Zealand might have an edge upwind. Are they clawing back on the U.S. boat?
Well, it looks like here they're just about to take over the lead. So I think they've been gaining slowly up this whole beat, and they're going to get into the better current sooner. So it's tough decisions to make down at the bottom of that race course. But I think their main gains have been coming in the tacks again. And it'll be just time will tell as we go up this speed as to if they're fast enough to make a pass.
He'll have to take to leeward of us, Dean. He'll take to leeward of us. Boundary tag.
Boundary protection here, possibly.
Yep.
10.
You're listening to Ray Davies talking to helmsman Dean Barker that they will tack to leeward of us in this next maneuver. Nathan, talk us through it.
Well, what happens here is, Oracle Team USA is on starboard, New Zealand's on port, but they have protection from the boundary. So when you're inside 5 legs to the boundaries, the port tack boat has right of way. And there you go, tacking directly to leeward, exactly what Emirates Team New Zealand thought they were going to do.
Bow down, the Kiwis trying to increase speed, and the game is getting closer.
Inches here, this is just great racing, and look how close they are here. Dean had no choice there but to go lower. He couldn't sail high and slow. The only way to get into this race was to try and get through to leeward, and either he's going to tack from here, or they're both going to try and start foiling upwind.
Look at the speed from Emirates Team New Zealand. They reeled the Americans back in after a tack right in front of them. That is a big slap in the face for the American team, isn't it?
I think that's a huge mistake by Oracle tacking there. I don't understand why they're doing the short tack back into the shore, because what you see here now is you see Emirates now tacking on the starboard tack. They've taken the right-hand side. They have the advantage. And the only way Oracle are going to survive this next maneuver is to be inside the boundary and have the right of way on port coming out.
I think we can see the momentum shifting, the control in this race, loosening from Oracle Team USA and possibly settling into the hands of Emirates Team New Zealand with those last 2 transactions.
Well, they made this mistake yesterday as well. They gave away starboard tack advantage. In match racing, starboard tack advantage is so important. And let's just see what happens here coming out of the boundary.
Yeah, this next cross should be huge. And it is Emirates Team New Zealand out in front of Oracle Team USA with that tack.
Let's see what happens here.
But it's not over yet,
they're going
is
to leeward. Get ready for the hook. They're going to get the hook and they're going to luff, and they're going to force Dean straight into another tack here. Amazing race. This is exactly like what we've seen in the past, and now it's happening in 72-foot foiling caps. This is unreal to watch, and now we knew it was going to be big, but today's way bigger than we were expecting.
It is spectacular. We've got a proper catfight on here in San Francisco Bay.
Big gains here, boys.
So now the big question is Oracle's tack back. They've taken this starboard tack advantage again. I'm hearing and listening from Emirates Team New Zealand. They've made a gain. So let's just see what happens when they exit the boundary again.
10 seconds. One slow out of us. Yeah. Standing by.
No wing. No wing. Go trim, come on wing.
Here comes the next tack. Now New Zealand has to tack because of the boundary, and they're on port. They have to give way.
Can't see him.
Can't see him. You can hear Jimmy Spithill. Can't see him. Just getting close. We could see a potential collision here.
What you see is the green lights are flashing on the Emirates Team New Zealand back there. So they were in the boundary. The port tack boat has right of way, and that's a telling moment in the race.
Look at him go. The view from Dean Barker looking down at Oracle Team USA as they pass over the top of him. The Kiwis are now in control of the match.
From here, the Kiwis should be able to maintain control. Once you get the other boat on the same tack as you can see they just got wind forward here on Oracle, but Kiwis just have to follow them here. So let's go on board and listen to what their plan is.
There's the wing wash coming off of the top of Emirates Team New Zealand. That dirty air, that turbulent wind is definitely hurting the Americans, isn't it?
It is, they're losing a bit here now for sure.
Happy for him to get forward on us. Gains in height. Keep taking it in height. Nice, boys. Happy for him to go forward on us.
Lower speed. Okay, now I'm going faster than this then. 24, let's get the hull out. Well, just say we're permanently grinding and the hull's always in. Yeah.
What does that mean, Nathan? We're permanently grinding, but the hull is always in.
Seems like they're just struggling to get the boat balanced properly. Tom's talking about we're grinding on the wing sheet, but the hull's always in the water, so they need to change the wing shape somehow with their hydraulic system to get a little bit more power out of it, or Jimmy's just got to try and point a little bit lower just to fly the hull. very even on the boat speed across there, heading into the fog. And I think New Zealand are just doing a great job here. Now they've got control of the race and they're just waiting to react to what Jimmy's going to do.
Come on, guys. Let's keep sailing on the boat, guys. Don't go any higher than... Slow it, Steve. Leave the seat. Yeah. What are you thinking, Jaco? Come on, amigos. Going in right. We're just going to have to keep going our finish. We're just going to have to pick our time. Little boat in. Looks like some good riding up here with pressure.
You can hear the intensity on board Oracle Team USA. They looked much calmer when they were in the lead. And it's one thing to start in the lead, but it is demoralizing to have the team that you're defending from come from behind and pass you. Now the Kiwis are looking strong.
A little longer. 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Definitely a very intense moment down there the whole way around the bottom of that course, and as you see here, Emirates Team New Zealand also attacking the match here, so they're doing a great job now of just defending their lead, but seriously intense racing there, and you can hear the disappointment on Oracle. They almost thought they had that one in the bag and just let Emirates Team New Zealand get into them at the bottom of the course.
No, wait. Really taxi on the right. Think it one and in right. 45's a good.
You can hear JK saying, I think we've got to go one in right, and I heard Tom Slingsby saying just a little bit earlier that I think we just got to keep it close. I think yesterday they went a little bit too aggressive when they were behind and got further behind it. They want to keep it close and have a real good race on the downwind.
That intense look is back on Jimmy Spithill's face. That's what it looked like all day yesterday. He can't be happy with this view.
No, it's very frustrating. I bet you they're starting to get sick of that red wing sitting up there in front of them, and you know, they just got to keep working on keeping it close, and who knows, there's still a long way to go in this race.
I think they're pretty close there. Yeah. You're just doing it. That's right. I think we're pretty close. We're ready.
So both boats close to the left-hand boundary on this upwind leg. The Kiwis reach it first and tack. And the next move will be Oracle Team USA following suit.
This is how early we tried.
You'd have to think Emirates are a faster boat upwind to be 20 seconds behind at the bottom mark, to then get in attacking duel and then to go past and sail away. Oracle have really got a big job ahead of them to get their boat going quicker upwind.
How far is it to boundary?
I think that's a pretty strong statement, Nathan, and one that the Kiwis are proving right in front of our eyes.
So early drive.
So both boats approach the top mark. It'll be a right-hand turn around the right-hand gate. As they rip up onto the foils, no question who is out in front. Emirates Team New Zealand.
Okay. Yeah, just give me sitting. 20.
The clock ticking above 20 seconds and counting for the American team. Oracle Team USA will follow Emirates Team New Zealand around the windward gates, 29 seconds behind.
40 seconds. 35, we can stretch it out a bit. No, got a bit of time.
On board with Oracle Team USA as they trail Emirates Team New Zealand. Nathan Outeridge, what are their options? What's going through your head if you're one of these guys?
Right now, their only option is to keep going out to the boundary and jibe what they can. There's best current out there, and they're in a position where they just have to follow Team New Zealand now. We'll see them jibe here before this blue mark. And around they go. Really nice jibe. So these guys are still sailing brilliantly, but it's just those key moments earlier on in that beat where it cost them dearly.
Well, we know Oracle Team USA is fast when they're flying downwind, but will it be enough with a delta like that to catch the Kiwis?
As we saw yesterday, it's pretty tough. They chose the same top mark. It's pretty hard to make a passing manoeuvre when you're just following unless you're seriously faster. And they're only about a knot or so quicker at best downwind. So I think you know, their best bet there was to probably split and have a chance at making a gain, but they probably know deep down that going left mark at the top was going to be a bigger loss than following.
About 7 lengths off it.
180. You have to start with a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Should go right from here, though, eh?
Yeah, once we get out of the pod, we'll... Yep, really happy now. We're in the good breeze too. Paralleling at the moment, 7 lengths off.
Ray Davies just checking his onboard computer strapped to his waist so he can carry it with him both sides of the boat. He's looking at the boundaries and also the ley lines into the next mark and when the team will jibe, right?
Exactly. He was just referring to which boundary they were closest to. He said we're paralleling the boundary. So the wind's probably a little bit further left than what we've seen the last few days, which means this starboard jibe on the downwind is the longest one. And that's great for Team New Zealand because Jimmy just has to follow him. He can't jibe, he can't go further offshore. And looks like Jimmy's catching him slightly here, but they've still got a good 20 seconds to catch up.
Well, the delta was 17 seconds at the bottom mark the first time, about 29 seconds at the top mark. And now, will the American speed be enough to catch these guys? The Kiwis, Emirates Team New Zealand, dominant so far.
Well, about 50 seconds the other way. 2:15 this way, 15 the other.
You can always hear them talking about the time, can't you? It's so hard to judge distance, but time is very obvious to the crew. We've got 2 minutes this direction, 50 seconds the other way, and then you're at the bottom mark. And that's good cues for the crew on board to know exactly what's coming next.
About 20 seconds to a dive. 20.
You heard Ray Davies call 20 seconds to a jibe, 10 now. Emirates Team New Zealand will make the next move. It'll be a jibe onto port as they head towards the leeward gate.
Driving.
Yeah, another great jibe. They're really good on the board management, these guys. We've seen it for the last couple of months, and see how at the end of that jibe they still have a little bit of that windward board to lift up. They're letting the windward hull sit on that about a metre of board down, and that's what gives them the nice balance and stability through the jibe.
40 the other way.
Oracle following suit. And again, exactly the same principles there. Still having to wind up the last part of their board. And these guys are sailing these boats almost identically. And the biggest difference to me I can see at the moment is the upwinds, and downwind there's nothing in it.
45 this way.
You can see that orange line on the screen there. That's the ley line, so expect a jibe coming here very soon.
3, 2, 1, driving.
I'm impressed at how calm these guys seem, considering how hard and how physical it is on board these boats. They make it look easy. That's mark number 4 on the left-hand side, the final turning mark of this race before we head to the finish. And time is definitely running out for Oracle Team USA. The writing, it would appear, is already on the wall.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any passing manoeuvres from here. Oracle too far behind, and Emirates Team New Zealand have just got to round the mark as they go here, and then it's a 40-knot blasting reach to the finish from here.
The view from onboard Emirates Team New Zealand in front of Dean Barker's sunglasses is the finish line. Behind his helmet is Oracle Team USA. And that is a picture the Kiwis like to see on San Francisco Bay as race number 3 heads for home.
You see Dean there have a little spin of their head, have a look back of where Oracle is, and it's not often you get a chance to turn around and look back, but he's obviously feeling very happy with this race, and they're cruising along quite nicely to the finish here.
You can already head the crowd starting to cheer on board as Emirates Team New Zealand heads for the finish line off of America's Cup Park. From down to dominant, Emirates Team New Zealand came from behind to take race number 3 of the America's Cup in impressive fashion. I mean, Nathan, that says it all for the fans who have come all the way up here from New Zealand. They're getting the show that they had hoped for.
Yeah, exactly. A great show put on today, and if you're a Kiwi supporter, man, you've got to be happy with a race like that.
And you've got to be extremely frustrated to have dominated the start, given them a penalty. Oracle Team USA finishes now 28 seconds behind.
Spin up, boys. Bad luck.
You know, bad luck is a phrase I've heard Jimmy Spithill say more than once in these races at the finish.
Yeah, I bet he's hoping he doesn't have to say that after this next race. And I think it all came back to that bottom of that first beat, and it's just so impressive how well Team New Zealand were able to do from being behind at the bottom mark. They did a great job splitting gates and getting back into that race. And you know, Jimmy and the boys must be thinking, we got a penalty, we won the start. What more do we have to do?
Right. What more can they do?
It's a great question, and hopefully they can work it out. But I think, to me, it looks like they just need to relax a little bit more around the bottom mark, not engage with these boys too much upwind. They're losing too much in the tacks, and they've just got to be confident in their boat speed and let the race take care of itself.
Look at the smiles aboard the crew of Emirates Team New Zealand. Quite happy, and they should be. They are now 3-0 up over the defenders of the America's Cup, Oracle Team USA, here in San Francisco. What a show it has been so far for this third race in the America's Cup. It goes to Team New Zealand 3-0 over Oracle Team USA. One more race scheduled today, and Nathan Outteridge, you thought it was going to be one each. Do you think the next race will go to these guys, the Kiwis, or can Oracle turn it around?
Still wouldn't be surprised if we get a 1-all score. We'll just have to wait and see, won't we? But they've been doing a good job, and we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm still confident they'll win a race.
It's impressive. There are the boys on board Emirates Team New Zealand. We're going to go down to hear from that race with Dean Barker.
We go on board now with Emirates Team New Zealand, their skipper and helmsman, Dean Barker. Dean, congratulations on a tremendous performance. You didn't get the start. Oracle Team USA got it, but where did it all go right for you guys in this race?
Well, yeah, it was a matter of meters, really, at that Mark 1. We just, you know, we just needed one more meter just to get around their bow, and would have been a completely different lock. But, you know, it's just the way it is. Those guys, you know, they came out firing. They did a nice job with their acceleration off the line and just held that inside overlap. And, yeah, we didn't sail our best run down there. Gave away a few lengths that we probably shouldn't have. But, you know, in that the Upwind, the boat was really going quite well. The guys were doing a great job. And, yeah, we sort of managed to close right in, which was nice.
Hey, Dean, let's go to that beat for a second. Halfway up the beat, you guys kind of use the boundary to your advantage. Can you just tell us how that all works?
Well, it's a real game of cat and mice up there, because you're trying to use the boundary to your advantage. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and with everything going on and trying to make sure you stay inside the zone and everything else, it's pretty full on. And you know, I think you're going to get some right, some wrong, and you know, I think we sort of managed it pretty well today.
Dean, do you get a little conservative now, or do you keep the hammer down and keep pushing hard?
Mate, we're only 3 races into it. You know, we've got to keep pushing hard. These boats, there's no point being conservative. You've got to push hard all the way. So we'll just keep fighting for every point. You know, we go out again now with a clean slate and try and win the next race this afternoon.
Dean, we thank you for your time. We'll see you for race number 2.
Yeah, we'll do. See ya, thanks.
So there we heard it from Dean Barker aboard Emirates Team New Zealand, a very confident Kiwi crew. And he's got a reason to be happy now. 3 up over that boat in the distance to the left, Oracle Team USA.
Yeah, definitely got to be a happy team there. As you heard him say, it was another tight, close race, and they just seem to have that advantage upwind. I think, you know, thinking about the racing and what was going to happen, everyone thought Oracle were going to be a fast boat upwind, and I heard it a lot from the boys from New Zealand, knowing that we were going to, you know, have to improve our speed upwind, and they've certainly done that.
On board here with Oracle Team USA as they change headsels. And while they do, we're going to hear from how that race went from Jimmy Spithill.
We go on board now with James Spithill, the skipper and helmsman for Oracle Team USA. And Jimmy, you had a great start. First, second leg looked fantastic. What was the difference in the race, and where did it get away from you?
Yeah, we got off the line well, and I actually thought they fouled us at the reach mark, so it'd be interesting to see that on TV. But yeah, we had a good run, and they just slowly got into us. And a couple of tacks around, working up to Alcatraz there, and unfortunately were able to get around us.
So Jimmy, last night the word on the street was that you guys kind of went through possible ways to tack the boat a little bit better. Clearly that was an issue yesterday. Have you seen a difference? Does the boat feel any different? Are you doing anything different during these tacks to try to close gauge?
Made a couple of changes. I think we were, you know, a little better. You know, obviously off that race, they're still making pretty good gains in the tack, so we're going to have to work a little bit harder and see if we can up our performance there.
Jim, is there anything speed-wise you could do in between races to try and improve going upwind?
Very little, to be honest. I mean, the configuration is what it is right now, and you know, I don't think our speed was necessarily that bad upwind. You know, I think we just got a little out of sorts at the bottom there. And, you know, I think we've still got a shot at winning. So we're going to come out, you know, swinging in this race. We really want to take this one.
Jimmy, thanks for your time. Wish you best of luck in race number 2.
Well, there you heard it from Jimmy Spithill, Nathan. And I put you on the spot already today in the show saying that you predicted 1 each today. Do you still think we're going to see that?
I still think we can see that. You know, as they said, I think they're improving every race. I think they got a bit out of sorts at the bottom mark and on the bottom half of that beat. And I think they're going to learn from that. I think they're realizing that they're not that slow upwind, but they just don't want to engage too much with them on the upwinds, because that's where they're making the gains.
There's Winston McFarlane on board Emirates Team New Zealand. He's come on to replace Grant Dalton for this race number 2. And Nathan, that's pretty key to keep the grinders fresh, isn't it?
Exactly. These guys are working really hard, and you know, it's great to have a fresh set of arms on board. And you know, he's a pretty strong guy, so you know, they're going to have a bit of extra power on board in this race.
So while the Kiwis and the Americans take a break, let's go back through the race. Here we are in the pre-start.
And as you see here, Jimmy does the jibe. And the bows go down really hard during this jibe. Not his best jibe, but he gets the position he's looking for, I think, here. And that's all that matters in the pre-start. Forces Dean into attack. And from here, Jimmy's in a good position to try and control the start. What Dean did earlier on was do a great job of getting ahead of them, but allows Jimmy to accelerate better off to leeward. I still think both boats were late on this start, but again, a better start from Jimmy than yesterday.
Definitely a better start from Jimmy, so it's pretty even. Going into mark number 1, here comes the penalty from Oracle Team USA.
And this is exactly what he was trying to achieve yesterday. This time he was about 4 or 5 foot further forward, and there was an overlap.
Wow, look at that.
Gets close there, doesn't it?
It's unbelievable they can be doing upwards of 50 miles an hour, 72-foot boats, and be that close. What did Emirates Team New Zealand possibly do wrong there?
Well, the whole time you're going across, Emirates Team New Zealand are the keep clear boat, and they just got a little bit too close at this moment. They probably assumed Jimmy was going to bear away, and he just goes straight past the mark, goes for the penalty. Both boats push the penalty flag, and the penalty goes to Emirates Team New Zealand then.
On board Emirates Team New Zealand, there it is, penalty. So now Oracle Team USA's in the lead. We're at mark number 2, the leeward gates. They take the left-hand side, and the Kiwis will split and head to the right.
And that's the best thing the Emirates could do there, is get the split, because it's all going to happen here. They get the split, and here we go, tight battle coming from here. I was really interested to see them tack there, because they had the advantage. They weren't close together, And I didn't understand why Oracle just kept sailing and stayed between Emirates, because now they get the starboard tack advantage.
Oracle does 2 tacks to Emirates Team New Zealand's 1. New Zealand has starboard advantage, and they plant one right in front of the Americans here.
Yeah, plant directly in front of them, and Jimmy goes straight underneath. As he goes underneath here, he gets the hook, and he forces Dean Barker into attack. But as we come back here, the next time they come together, Emirates Team New Zealand comes out of the boundary on port. They have the right of way while they're in the boundary, and from here they have control of the race.
Well, it was a control they would never relinquish. They kept gaining minute by minute. Mark number 3 at the top. Both teams take the right-hand gate looking upwind towards the Golden Gate Bridge. And now the Kiwis are strong. They've shifted to defensive mode. And you can hear the fans on shore at America's Cup Park, particularly the Kiwi fans are happy with that. Their 3rd race win in the America's Cup. So now both boats will head upwind slowly as they prepare for race number 4. And if you are on board Oracle Team USA, you'd have to be pretty frustrated. But hopefully they can regroup. They're professionals. Now let's analyze the stats, Nathan. First with the downwind legs.
Well, downwind here we can see the average speed for Oracle looked a little bit faster today. You know, a knot and a half faster. They're almost 2 knots faster, and their maximum speed's basically identical. But what you see is the distance is different here. They've been sailing a little bit further difference. Remember yesterday I thought they were sailing a lower mode than what Emirates Team New Zealand were. Today it looks like they must be sailing a higher mode, or just being in the wrong position around the race course at times, and that was the difference.
And they jibed, Emirates Team New Zealand jibed one more time than Oracle Team USA. Now we go overhead with virtual graphics to take a look at their tracks.
And as you can see, they're just following each other the whole way down the race course, but the first run, this is where the key move comes from Emirates Team New Zealand. They do that extra jibe just here, and that gets the split at the bottom gate. And often you don't want to jibe because it slows you down, but if you can make a jibe to get a split at the bottom, then that gives you the chance to get into the race for the next beat.
And that split helped them when they went to the right. Did they get current relief from underneath Alcatraz?
They got early current relief, but most importantly, they got out of sync. They got on the opposite tack and gave a good chance to get back into the race.
So we head on the upwind leg with both teams. Here are the stats.
The average speeds look pretty similar there, you know, 0.5 of a knot in it. And maximum speeds this time, best speed was to Oracle. So you can see how evenly matched these boats are. But it's the distance sailed again that's costing Oracle in the racing. One extra tack and sailing further, and at the end of the day, it's about going around the course as short as possible and as fast as possible.
Now let's take a look at how the lead change occurred.
You can see they're working up this boundary here, always fighting for starboard tack advantage and protection on the boundary.
And here comes Nathan, the Kiwis.
And that was a decisive move there. Had Oracle been able to approach Emirates Team New Zealand further from the boundary, the starboard tack advantage would have been theirs. But because they approached him inside that 5-length zone, then the port tack has the right of way. And that's new in the America's Cup. That's the new rules that we have with this boundary racing. And from here, there's no real passing maneuvers.
Now let's take a look at the overall statistics from the entire race.
Well, again, here it's just another good stat to show that Oracle sailed further around the racecourse, almost 500 meters further around the racecourse. Their speeds were almost identical. Average speed 0.5 of a knot. It's hardly anything. So it's that distance that they had to sail, and that extra distance they had to sail was because they were being covered out of that beat and had to sail a lower mode to make it happen. And the maximum speeds around Barroways, very, very marginal.
So more distance sailed for Oracle Team USA translates into another loss to the Kiwis, Emirates Team New Zealand. There it is, the score once again 3-0 over the Americans. One more race scheduled today. Can Oracle Team USA claw back? We'll see.
An AC-72 can sail faster than the speed limit on Golden Gate Bridge. That's 45 miles an hour. These boats are clocking 50. The huge wing provides all the horsepower, but the turbo boost comes from hydrofoils, or foils.
The foils behave exactly the same as an aeroplane wing does. Just as an aeroplane, when it gets enough velocity, it lifts off the ground. The foils, when they get enough velocity, lift the weight of the boat out of the water. The reason we do that is because all of the hull dragging in the water actually is a large percentage of the total drag of the boat. When you lift it out of the water, the boat goes 10 or 15% faster immediately.
It is similar to taking off in a plane. You are limited when you're on the runway and you're sort of off down that track, and then you're up on the foils. Suddenly the boat is a lot easier to sail when you're foiling. You don't have the resistance from all that water on the hull.
The actual foils themselves are relatively small. They've got to lift 7 tons, which is the total weight of the boat and crew. But because the boats go so fast, they can be quite compact and still carry that huge amount of weight.
That weight and the pressure on the foils is astonishing. The foils must be able to withstand a minimum 8 tons of pressure to pick up and fly 7.5 tons of boat. During a turn, that pressure rises to 15 tons, the equivalent of 7 family sedans. All this on a piece of carbon fiber about the size of a surfboard. The AC-72s were not meant to foil, but a tweak in the design rule opened the door for the Kiwis to turbocharge their boat.
It's definitely been an evolution that we've been pioneering in this campaign, and I'm sure the other teams were thinking of heading that direction at some point as well, but I think we proved that it could be done.
The other teams soon followed suit.
One of the great things this America's Cup has led to is the designers having to deal with a whole new dimension of sailboat sailing. Previously, it was all about the boat going sideways and forwards, but now we've got to deal with the boat going up and down, and that's a tough problem.
The AC-72 design rule prevents active control on the rudder wings during racing. Their angle and rake must be fixed 5 minutes before the start. So the only way the sailors can control whether the boat is flying horizontally is by pivoting the dagger board casing. This swings the board forward and aft, which pitches the bow down or up. Getting that right is one of the key challenges of this Cup.
So the whole point of trying to achieve is stable flight. So you want to have the boat foiling, about 1 metre out of the water, and it just sits in this little sweet spot and rips along at 40 knots. And if you can achieve that, you'll be looking pretty good in the racing.
And the top speeds for these AC-72s?
I don't know where the limit will be with these boats. The sky's the limit, and it's just a really exciting part of sailing.
Well, another superb race, folks. That was amazing. Come from behind win for Emirates Team New Zealand. I'm joined here down at America's Cup Park on this beautiful sunny day by a 4-time America's Cup winner, Brad Butterworth, and the helmsman for Luna Rossa Challenge, Chris Draper. Brad, to you, what were your thoughts? Amazing race.
Yeah, it was a real show of strength from Team New Zealand. I think it's hard to talk that one down. They sailed very well, and, really the strength upwind was dominant.
Clearly, the upwind was very crucial because they were behind for the first downwind. How did you see that with better boat speed, better tactics?
I think they just have a bit more power, and they just sailed around them, really. You can't beat that.
Chris Draper, you've sailed these boats before. You know exactly what this is like. What are your thoughts?
Like Brad says, it was an awesome race. Like the first half of it was just incredible. The boats are so hard to sail, and they're pushing them so hard, so close to one another. It's pretty impressive stuff. But I think it was like Brad said, it's a massive show of strength for Team New Zealand. Like their upwind performance and their tacking as well, to be honest, is making a big difference.
And Brad, the psychology for James Spithill now. I mean, it's tough.
I think it's tough for them both, though. I mean, it's going to be tough, but he's got an uphill battle. I think he's got to open the race up a little bit more if he wants to try and win them.
Right, Jimmy Spithill must be spitting feathers at the hill he has to climb.
Yeah, he wanted to do this game, so he's in it.
Okay, well, let's just go into a bit more detail about that first race penalty. And we really did see Jimmy Spithill coming out swinging. He had a good job at the pre-start. Chris, just talk to us about this first windward mark rounding.
Yeah, obviously Jimmy owned the zone because they entered the mark within a certain distance of the mark, and so it was Jimmy's mark rounding space. So Dean was always on the back foot. He always had to give Jimmy a lot more room than he normally would do, and Spithill was very aggressive there. I'm surprised that was a penalty and the one yesterday wasn't, but it's easy to say that from sitting here. I think the umpires get a much closer look at it from the booth, but it certainly made a big difference for Oracle and gave them a great opportunity and opening down the first leg.
Brad, do you agree with the penalty? It looked like Emirates Team New Zealand were windward boat, and in sailing that means you have to keep clear, right?
Yeah, I think that they call it a penalty, but it was only probably half a metre between them being clear.
Let's have a little look on board. Chris, just talk to us. You've seen these penalties. It was on virtual right here, the two boats even.
Yeah, so they're just approaching the boat length zone. You can see them as they come in. And Jimmy's just got an overlap as they're coming into the zone, which means that Dean's really got to give him even more room than normal. And that's why I think the penalty was called as opposed to the one that we saw yesterday. And the boats, when they're in those scenarios, there's so much pressure on. The boat's doing 40-odd knots, so the umpire's always going to allow there to be or expect to see a little bit more room between the boats.
And Chris, we saw Jimmy do a few protests yesterday, 3 of them during the race, but that one, he seemed to handle that a little better. They were in a good position to stick it onto Emirates Team New Zealand.
Yeah, I think the ones yesterday, like we discussed after the race, that they were a little bit what we call Hollywood. They were kind of trying to make something out of nothing, but that one was for sure well worth a Y flag, and like we saw, they got a penalty.
And then we saw the two boats going downwind. Brad, Oracle Team USA were ahead. They looked like they had great boat speed downwind.
Yeah, I think they're quick. I think they're quick reaching too, but it's upwind that's their biggest problem.
Quicker reaching, quicker downwind for Oracle Team USA?
Maybe a little bit, but very close.
Well, and let's have a look in a little more detail at that down at the bottom gate and then the upwind, where it all changed around, because at the bottom delta they were 17 seconds ahead. But here, talk to us about this, Brad.
Well, this is a difficult situation for both boats, both tacking and trying to get their speed up. And here, USA just overlaps Team New Zealand and forces them to tack away. I was thinking that at this stage he'd just keep going, but he's wanted to keep tacking, and I think in the end was a big mistake.
Right, because here Oracle Team USA back in the lead in this position, and you felt they should have continued here on port, but they tack right here. Why is that bad, Brad?
Because I think he was going to. They get to the boundary, and the boat on the left has rights to be on port tack, so you don't have starboard tack is negated.
Right, so they actually, because they have to avoid that boundary, it allows the port boat to avoid that boundary. Chris, you've seen that before, so you think they should have carried on as well? Or was that basically bad tactical call on Oracle Team USA?
It was really tough scenarios for both guys there, and for both teams, it was very difficult to know what decisions to make, and I think both of them would have come away from it saying that they made mistakes there. But at the same time, it was a real advantage for Team New Zealand, because as soon as the boats start tacking, I think we're really seeing that there's a difference in the tacks. And so if Team New Zealand can get Oracle tacking more than they want to, then it's a great thing for them.
Well, let's have a little look on virtual eye, and we can delve into this in a little more detail about how Emirates Team New Zealand were able to pass. Just talk to us about this, Brad, here. There's 134 meters advantage to the Americans.
Yeah, I think they were trying to get under the cone of Alcatraz there and doing some short tacks here, but as soon as they started short tacking, eventually you have to go to the other shore, and the boat that's on the left winds up with a current relief and then comes out with a little bit of advantage. So, to me, Oracle went around the bottom mark and really sailed backwards.
Yeah, why did they not sail towards that current relief area?
No, it's hard to get it exactly right, but they seem to have a mentality to try and defend their lead rather than stretch it.
Chris, do you think it was a tactical mistake, or actually a little slower for Oracle Team USA upwind, slow attacking maybe?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. The tacks are making a difference. I think Oracle gave quite a lot away on the VMG of the leeward mark rounding, which I think lost them a bit of ground. They were obviously quite a bit ahead at the bottom. And then when they stepped up the second time back into what we call the cone behind Alcatraz, like Brad says, they actually ended up sailing back out over the really deep water in front of Alcatraz, which has a huge amount of current on. So while they got a bit more of a benefit, they lost out from that as well.
Great. Okay, Brad, final thoughts. We got a race about to start, race number 4. Can Oracle Team USA do it?
I think, yeah, they can win a race, but boy, they're going to have to change their tactics a bit, and the Kiwi boat's pretty impressive upwind.
Chris, can they do it? What do they have to do?
Yeah, I think they can, and I hope it's as good as that one.
Well, it is certainly close racing. It is exciting. It is fantastic. These boats out there, San Francisco Bay, natural amphitheater with them flying on water. And boy, those two boats are close as anything. It's everything to play for. Oracle Team USA can certainly win.
Umpires are key to laying down the law in match race sailing. They work in the background, but their decisions can affect who wins the cup and who doesn't. For this regatta, umpiring has been revolutionized. The on-water umpires blast around at 60 knots, and key decisions are made on land in a digital umpire booth.
Clear, just clear. Clear, clear, clear.
Mike Martin is director of umpiring at the America's Cup.
There's a lot of firsts in this America's Cup, and the umpiring is really the leading edge of technology, much like the boats are. So in the umpiring, we're using the raw data, and we take that into a program that we developed, and we actually track the boats to 2-centimeter accuracy. We can look at that data, we can fast forward, we can freeze frame, we can zoom up, and we can see the exact positions of the boats at the critical moments. I don't think there's any other sport that does real-time officiating with video and digital data. So we're actually leading the edge for all sports in that area.
Overlap, 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 clear, clear, clear.
The on-the-water umpires, you know, we're still making those calls that can really only be made from the water. You know, those judgment calls on was the boat doing everything they could to keep clear. They can see how the sails are trimmed and how the crew's reacting. So that key information that's not available on the computer screen. The tough part is now the boats are going 40 knots. You know, they used to go 10 knots. So we've had to really make, you know, big steps up in the performance of the umpire ribs to be able to keep up with the boats. And we actually have a military boat that does 60 knots. It's a 43-foot twin turbo diesel, 1,200 horsepower racing machine, really.
Clear, overlap, 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 overlap.
Gun, clear. Pre-start is the most exciting part of the whole race. You know, the rules are designed intentionally to make the boats interface in that period. And so, you know, they enter and then they're fighting for position, you know, right up until they cross the starting line. So that's where we're seeing most of our calls, and that's really where we're on the edges of our seats.
From a sailing point of view, it makes the penalties completely immediate. Recently, I think it's been tweaked, and more often than not, it's pretty spot on.
I think the umpiring system works really well. It's pretty clear and visual on board if you have a penalty, if you don't, and you know, it's much better than them trying to chase you down at 40 knots waving flags at you.
Scene has been reset, Nathan Outteridge, as we prepare for the start of race number 4.
Yeah, it was a great race, that last one, and we're really looking forward to another competitive race. I think Jimmy and the boys are knocking on the door for a win. They've been sailing so good the last few races, and you know, I'm just keen to see them get off the start line again and really try and just hold this one together.
Looks like the fans are quite keen to see that as well, unless you're those guys, the Kiwi fans. They want to see a repeat performance. Looks like fun out there. And speaking of what's going on out there, the fog is still in, but the breeze is still up. Current's changing a little bit too, Nathan, so let's go down to the course and take a look at the weather.
Yeah, well, as you can see from that helicopter shot, still the fog over the top of the course, but as the day's going on and getting warmer, the breeze is increasing slowly. We're up to 19 knots with a few gusts into the 20s, and the floods is slowly dying. We've got less flood now, so expect the cone to be less of an advantage, and that left-hand side of the course, they're going to tack up there again for certain. It's basically a no-brainer which way to go, and once you're in front, they've just got to work on keeping the boat behind them
Lots of fog still over the top of the race course. You can see it in the distance. There's 4 shots from onboard Emirates Team New Zealand. I like the one on the upper left. Dean Barker looks calm, confident, cool, and collected. Same shots, this time from the Americans. Oracle Team USA, upper left again is our helmsman. You just saw him take the wheel, Jimmy Spithill, and that is again an intent look on his face. We saw him aggressive in the pre-start. You think he's going to be aggressive again?
I think hands down he's going to be aggressive again, isn't he? It worked for him last time, and he's going to just keep pushing hard for it. He knows the way to win this race is to win the start and lead around Mark 1.
Well, let's look at the start.
Once the boats enter the starting area, their next focus is actually crossing the starting line. They can't do that until the timer reaches 0, and that's the start of the race. During the whole pre-start period, they're jockeying for position, trying to get between the starting line and their opponent. The whole goal is controlling your position over the other boat and then accelerating across the start line onto the first leg. If they do cross the start line before the start signal, they'll be called an OCS, an on-course side. And if that's the case, they will be penalised by the umpires. Knowing the game means understanding the rules, an integral part of sailboat racing at any level.
Dean Barker to the left. You can't see him in that fog, but he's there. Jimmy Spithill to the right, and that's how the entry will go for the start of this second race of the day, the 4th race in the America's Cup Series. 3 minutes till the start.
With that fog, it's going to be tough for these boys to see the breeze as well as they have been able to do. Yesterday it was a little bit clearer, and today they've got the fog, and you can see Dean Barker. He's really just trying to get in position for this pre-start.
In the pre-start, we know Emirates Team New Zealand will be on port, and Nathan, you've been telling us that is new for match racing. The port boat is strong in the pre-start.
They are strong. They get to enter 10 seconds earlier than the starboard tack boat, which is allowing them to get that first cross in. And from there, they just have to make the one manoeuvre. And you know, if you only have to make one manoeuvre, it's one decision, and it's so much easier than having to react to another boat.
So the advantage early on in the pre-start will go to these guys, the Kiwis, who have been dominant so far. 5 seconds till they enter the start, ahead of Oracle Team USA. Here we go, 2:10, a little bit behind is Dean Barker.
Only a little bit behind, about 5 seconds behind. You prefer to be 5 seconds late on the entry than being early and getting a penalty. So, you know, I'm quite happy to be anywhere within that 5 to 10 seconds. And you can see Jimmy here a little bit late again as well, but it's exactly what they need to do in these pre-starts.
Big turn down for Oracle Team USA. Minute 50 to go. Their eyes set on the Kiwis, who are leading to the right-hand side of the pre-start box.
And I think with the flood dying, it now gives them the option to tackle or jibe here. Oracle are going to jibe and start to chase them out there. And then they're going to have to make a split-second decision as soon as Emirates decide which way they're going to go here.
That helicopter shot gives you a great idea of the speed. Even an aircraft has trouble keeping up with these boats. On board, Dean Barker, he'll tack. And now the next move belongs to Oracle Team USA.
And Dean tacked pretty late there. He tacked at 1:15, which gives Jimmy the opportunity to do a tack into leeward here. If he goes past, it's going to make his life tricky. Looking like he's gone straight past there. And now it's a case of Jimmy's got to get onto starboard tack here and really push the race back to the start line. Every second that's ticking by here is good for Emirates Team New Zealand.
So Spithill sets up behind Barker. What are his options?
Spithill's got to try and either get to leeward and get a hook on him, or he's going to try and sail to windward and roll him at the start. I'm looking at this live line picture. It looks like they're on the windward end on the ley line, so Jimmy's going to want to go to leeward from this position. But I think they're late for the start. They went a long way away, and I think they're going to be late.
They did look late in that graphic. Now we're less than 30 seconds away from the start. Spithill puts the bow down to try and increase speed. It's Emirates Team New Zealand giving them wing wash and slowing them down. Both boats pushing as hard as they can towards the line. Nathan, as you mentioned, they might be late. Oracle Team USA pulling forward a little bit. They know they want to win this race. Both bows going down and the hulls going up onto the foils as we start race number 4 here in the America's Cup. Oracle Team USA first up on the foils and pulling forward just a little bit. Nothing in this race so far.
Nothing in it at all. Again, both teams were slightly late, but they hit the line at speed. And again, I think Jimmy's done a great job of being the inside boat. Dean keeps fighting for the windward end. And Jimmy, look at him, he's sailing him here away from the mark. He's just trying to sail it off the course here.
Well, this is new. This is something we've never seen. They're not going to mark number 1. They're on their way to Chrissy Field as Jimmy Spithill luffs Dean Barker and takes an early lead into the rounding.
Nice there. You know, he did a great job. It was touch and go. All that Dean has to do is get his bow around there, and off he goes. And Jimmy, being the leeward boat, chooses when he gets to bear away, and that's where he gets the gains.
That's exactly what Jimmy Spithill needed to do. He's in control. Now he's got to keep it.
Nothing in the speed of these two boats. Very similar boats, but you can see how puffy it is there on the water. There's dark patches everywhere, and you hear him talking about we're in good pressure. When you're in good pressure, there's no need to rush the jibe.
Boundary just off to the right near the yacht clubs as they reach downwind. The next move will be a jibe, and who will go first? Crew moving to leeward on Emirates Team New Zealand, just off of Marina Green in America's Cup Village. The fans getting treated to quite a show. The Kiwis will jibe first.
Yeah, and that wasn't their best jibe. Their hull touched down in the water. You heard them talking into it. They sounded calm. But I think Oracle's going to make a nice little gain here because I didn't see a full foiling jibe, and that's probably the first time we haven't seen that one from Emirates.
So the first time we see small errors from the Kiwi crew, and the biggest lead we've seen so far for Oracle Team USA as we're halfway down the first run. The Americans in the lead.
Looks like we should step down, Dino. There has been a breeze. Quite nice gains.
Ray Davies on board talking to Dean Barker about their options.
Same now, yeah.
Same, Nathan, what does that mean?
They're just referring to their speed and their angle. Same. So with the same speed, same angle, often they'll refer to same faster or same higher, and that's what they're talking about when you hear those comms on board.
Same speed, same angle, but 130-meter difference between the teams. Emirates Team New Zealand preps for a jibe.
Nice gains back here, boys. Nice jibe.
You heard Ray say gains back here, boys. You think he's right?
I think so. It looked like they were out to like 150, 160. They got up to 130 there for a while, and look at them there doing 42 knots of boat speed, so really smoking along fast there.
Here's a look at the stats coming off of each boat's live.
Yeah, you can see there, obviously Oracle just exited a jibe and they're quite a lot slower, and it takes a long time for that speed to build up. The VMGs are definitely there to Emirates Team New Zealand, but they keep changing. You can see how often those numbers are spinning up and down, and that means it's puffy on the race course, and these boats are difficult to sail.
The breeze does look like it's building out there, out on the water. Early tack, Kostecki talking to Jimmy Spithill. They're already referring to the next leg.
Not an early tack, but like settle and go. Thinking like, 20 to 30 after the mark. Hey, John, looking to go 2 right. Happy to follow. Happy to follow.
Happy to follow John Kostecki. So he wants to jibe with him?
Yeah, I think they're just talking about their plan for the bottom mark. Looks like Emirates is setting up for 2 jibes from there. So they've done 1. They're going to go right-hand mark. And it may be, there you go, you see Oracle jibing as well. So they're happy to follow. They just know they've got to stay between them and the bottom mark, and they're saying 1 in right. So both boats shaping up for a right-hand mark at the bottom here.
15. Go bottom, Tommy.
You can barely see the boats through the fog. Oh, bows down for Oracle Team USA. A big mistake.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good jibe there. It looked like just some issue with the daggerboard control system, and just watch Team New Zealand come ripping in. You can't make mistakes like that, but they're still going to lead. They're both going to go around the same mark, and it's just a lesser lead.
The speed dropping dramatically for Oracle Team USA, but they are still in the lead as Emirates Team New Zealand follows them around the leeward marks. But look, the game is getting much closer.
You can see one little mistake makes a huge difference on the race course. They would have normally been doing 30 on the exit of the job, and they're doing 18 that time.
So Oracle Team USA leading back upwind, but only just.
Need to go higher. Aggressively high.
You can see Emirates did a great job around the bottom mark there of sailing high around the exit of the mark, and we're hearing them saying we have to sail high mode. You know, Oracle need to start sailing higher to squeeze them off here, and this is where you'll be able to tell if there's a good speed difference or not.
Now, what are Oracle Team USA's options? Boundary approaching, both boats heading to the left side.
Well, they just want to keep sailing towards them here. You can see they're slowly sailing higher. They need to get to the left-hand boundary. Once the green light starts flashing in the boundary, they can tack when they want.
Just look at how close these boats are. Imagine the view if you're an Oracle Team USA sailor. That one grinder just doesn't even want to look over his head. Just a few feet behind him is Emirates Team New Zealand. This game is incredibly close. The Kiwis will tack away first.
And there you go. They have to roll into attack. If they stay there any longer, then they're going to start to lose distance from the wing wash that we keep seeing from the overhead shots. Emirates were hiding there the whole time, but really good job there by Jimmy to get back into control in that race.
Let's go back to that issue at the bottom mark. Oracle Team USA comes off the foils and slams into the water. Right here.
And all that happens there is there's just an issue with the daggerboard control system on the leeward side. Jimmy might have pushed the wrong button. We'll watch on board, see if there's any movement on the daggerboard here. Ah, there you go. Someone's just tapped a button there, and you saw the leeward board on the far side shoot up in the air. So it wasn't a rate controlled adjustment. We're more worried about the board on the other side here. But what happens is as the boat goes in, down it goes. And it looked like just the board shot up in the air, and that messes up your job. And they're the little errors that really cost you in the race course.
Back out on the upwind leg. Emirates Team New Zealand in the middle of the track to the right of Oracle Team USA. They had to tack away the last time we saw the two teams. And the game is almost dead even again. On board with Dean Barker and crew.
Can you hear me now?
Very few mistakes we have seen the Kiwis make, but every time the U.S. team does, those guys are right there ready to pounce. Now, this next tack, Nathan, is going to be huge.
It is, you know, they've pushed out to the right-hand side of the course here, so maybe not best for current, but they're going to have the starboard tack advantage. To me, it looks like, you know, that graphic says 14 metres, and 14 metres is less than the length of the boat, so they might have a piece of each other here, so big cross coming here in this race.
So will it be Emirates Team New Zealand taking a bite out of Oracle Team USA, or will the Americans cross? Big speed gain there for Emirates Team New Zealand. Potentially collision course.
Happy to go.
There's the difference. There's the gain. There's the dominance return for Oracle Team USA. They will cross and tack ahead of Emirates Team New Zealand.
Yeah, big call there. I think that's a really good move. They're far enough ahead. That was a nice tack. They're now putting the stir there on Emirates Team New Zealand, and they're going to force Emirates back out onto the right-hand side, which isn't the favoured side of the course. So every time they do this, it is a risk, though, because they're giving away the starboard tack advantage, which is so important in match racing. But I think Jimmy and John Kostecki believe the left is the way to go. Let's get out of the current. Let's look for a left-hand shift, and let's just keep extending on this lead that they have.
Happy to set up.
So the Americans back in control of this race, but only just. Can they stay ahead of the Kiwis?
Stand by.
Setting up for attack on board with Oracle Team USA.
Check out how quickly going. 27 knots upwind. I know the breeze has increased a bit, but they must have been trying a falling mode or a low mode at some point there. So look to see them still crossing ahead here on port. I think they made some good gains in that part of the beat. You can see here, Emirates Team New Zealand starboard tack pushing the foiling upwind, and it's risky when you foil upwind because you, as you saw, the bow leapt out of the air, and they just want to have a good consistent speed. But man, 27 knots from both boats upwind. They're really flying upwind now.
So Oracle Team USA has regained what they lost. Now they're 130 meters plus in the lead, the advantage to the Americans. And now, for the first time in this regatta, it's the Kiwis on the offensive.
I really like what happened there. Oracle decided they're not going to tack on their face. They're just going to keep coming up to the center. They're sailing the boat fast. They've engaged once. They pushed them the wrong way once. And now you'll see it set up for attack here and get back into the favored side of the course.
3, 2, 1, here we go.
Favored side, the left side because of the current, and that's where both teams are heading now. As Oracle Team USA fights to maintain control of the Kiwis. Boundary reached for the Kiwis.
Yep, Kiwis have to tack there, and again, a nice tack on the left-hand side of our screen. And I think that it's a really fascinating race, this one. Jimmy's and JK are doing a much better job of just keeping the boat going fast and not really engaging in the other boat too much.
There is the next cross. Oracle Team USA comfortable now. They seem to have found their stride in this fourth race of the America's Cup as they shift to the left of Emirates Team New Zealand to stay in front.
It looks like the wind speed's picked up a bit. I'm seeing 22 knots gusting 24, so it's getting windy out there, and I think maybe Oracle is a faster boat when it's windy.
Hear how hard the guys are working on board. Remember, they made a grinder change on Emirates Team New Zealand. Winston McFarlane is now in for Grant Dalton, but it hasn't made the difference yet. Oracle crossing ahead again.
Just sneaking across there. It's really getting close, and I still like the look of Emirates Team New Zealand upwind, but I think Jimmy and the boys are doing a great job of just keeping in the lead. They're pushing out to the right-hand side. They're going to have starboard tack advantage on the next one. And it's going to be tight at the top. There's no doubt about it that Emirates are coming into them here slowly.
Hold on.
So New Zealand will tack on their hip. Both boats on port, heading out towards the middle of the race course. The next move will go to Oracle Team USA, halfway up the beat.
Copy. Higher in general. Hard to tell speed. They're about 5 lengths on our hip. Hold. Definitely nice lower here, Jimmy. Pretty good. Nice boat here.
So that was Tom Slingsby there speaking. He's the guy sitting behind Jimmy facing backwards. And he's on a strategy roll. So he's just telling Jimmy relatives. How are we going relative to the other boat? Helmet number 10's Tom Slingsby, and he always sits behind Jimmy. He's just an information feeder. He doesn't make decisions on the boat, but he feeds really good quality information for JK and Jimmy to make decisions.
Look at the crew all hunkered down on the Kiwi boat for windage as it increases on them. Every bit that they can reduce the windage increases the speed in these new boats. They're doing 20 knots upwind, over 20 knots of breeze, 50 miles of wind on their face.
So, Dean, if he goes left gate lay, we either follow him or take it away.
Yeah, good move. Pretty good move here.
There's the view from Oracle Team USA. The Kiwis just on their hip behind. But it's definitely not over yet, is it?
It's a tight race. I'm sitting on the edge of my chair watching this because this is the longest they've been able to hold on to it, and it's just amazing being able to listen to what they're talking about. JK's talking about a really good mode here. I think they're going to keep going offshore, and they're going to try and go left mark at the top, which is the first time we've seen in this racing. heard the Kiwis on board talking about wanting to go right gate, so they're going to try and get a split. You see them both tacking here. Oracle are going to tack on this line that you saw on our live line screen, the virtual eye, and they're going to try and make it with one more tack to go, whereas Kiwis are looking for a split at the top mark here.
So if what you're saying happens, if it plays out that Oracle goes to the left, Emirates Team New Zealand goes to the right, then New Zealand will have to do one more tack than the Americans, right?
They'll have to do one more tack upwind, and wow, look in the background here, foiling upwind, really unstable, and you know, it's hard to know when you want to push that, but it looked like they lost from trying to do that. But yeah, you're exactly right. One extra tack to Team New Zealand on the upwind, possibly one extra jibe to Oracle downwind, but if they can nail their jibes, you don't lose anything.
3, 2, 1.
Here comes that tack from Emirates Team New Zealand. On lay line for the right-hand gate, the top of the course, lays waiting. Oracle Team USA will reach it first. Nathan Outteridge, you told us they're going to go left gate and head inshore, and that's exactly what they do out in front, still in charge of this race number 4.
And look for them to do an early jibe after going around the first mark here to try and stay between Team New Zealand and the bottom mark.
Now it's New Zealand's turn, right-hand gate, right-hand turn. The delta, 16 seconds to Oracle Team USA. So Emirates Team New Zealand trailing Oracle Team USA. Nathan, I don't know anything about how to drive a foiling catamaran, but it seems to me that the Kiwis are a bit more unstable in this race than we've seen before.
Yeah, they were very jumpy in that race, and as the wind gets up, the boats go quicker and it becomes harder to sail. And the rudder elements that you can't adjust, those angles, are really, really changing how the boat performs. The faster you go, the more lift you get from your rudders, and that's why it looked a little bit unstable in the pictures we just saw there.
Dean Barker trying to tame a bucking Bronco and keep it flying forward to catch the boat to the left. Oracle Team USA, 40+ knots of boat speed, flying downwind in the lead.
Max trim here, Jimmy. Nice lower. Yeah, hold that up. Happy to go here anytime.
Think of what this does for the psychology of Oracle Team USA's crew if they can pull this off and win this race.
Oh, it's amazing. It's been such an amazing race to watch so far, and these guys need this race. They need to get back in the hunt. They're 3-0 down at the moment, and they need to do everything they can to keep that boat in your picture there, right there, behind.
But hang on, look at the Kiwis, look at the speed, look at them reeling him in from behind. They've taken 30 meters out of the American boat.
And you think 100 meters is a long distance, I can assure you it's about 2.5 seconds on these boats. So that's not a big lead by any stretch of the imagination.
And Jimmy Spithill knows it. He is just willing this boat forward, keeping it bow ahead of Emirates Team New Zealand.
Pressure here.
It's definitely getting closer.
It is. You can see the speeds that we keep getting to look at here. Very, very similar. Every now and then, Emirates Team is making a small gate, and they have 2 more maneuvers to go here. They've got 2 more jibes, and then it's a right-hand turn around the bottom mark. So really looking close. And look at that, consistent 100 to 115 meters in distance. So they're just going back and forward the whole time here.
Okay, go trim, little one. Go in. Yeah, hold. Max trim, go lower.
This is just awesome footage. Unprecedented. You can see every angle from this boat. To be fair, we can see a lot more than the sailors can.
I learned so much more about sailing these boats, watching the racing of the Louis Vuitton series than actually sailing the boat myself. So you can see Emirates here starting to cross the boat. They've got 2 jibes to go. This is probably the most 2 important jibes of the whole race now.
So here it comes, the first jibe from Emirates Team New Zealand. Oracle Team USA continues. Now they'll jibe to stay with the Kiwis. Boat handling is intensely important at this point.
So imagine how much pressure's on these guys right now. They know they need this win. They know it's close, and they've got the pedigree right on their back. These guys are the #1 team, Emirates Team New Zealand so far. They haven't lost a race to anyone, and here they are breathing down your neck. You've got to think these guys are under some serious pressure in front.
Can they handle the pressure? Can they keep the Kiwis off their back, and can they notch up their first win in the America's Cup? It is all on Oracle Team USA.
Both teams split here. 3 people on the leeward side waiting for the jibe, waiting for the call.
300. Stand by. Go Trent. Go forward to me.
So this last jibe has to be huge. No mistakes. They're heading for the final turn. Oracle Team USA, foil to foil jibe. Emirates Team New Zealand doing the same behind.
Nice, look at that. Both jibes, perfect jibes there again.
There's the view from on board Emirates Team New Zealand. The mark in the distance, the options running out for the Kiwis. It'll be a right-hand turn. That's the final turning mark of the race. The mood's got to be lifting for Oracle Team USA, but when you wouldn't know it, the intensity, you can feel it.
It's still just as close as it was at the start, and that's exactly how it should be. They're going to do one right-hand turn here, and then we've got about 40 seconds after this race, doing 40 knots on the way to the finish.
Both boats flying out of the fog and heading towards the finish. There's the delta, 5 seconds. The Kiwis, a sharper turn. They'll try and hook up to windward a little bit for clear air. It is a final sprint to the finish, and an intense fight for both teams as Oracle Team USA tries to hang on and keep the Kiwis at bay.
Look at the focus on their face. These guys know how important it is, and this is very rewarding for these boys right now. They're working so hard to finally get one up on them. They're starting a little bit of a higher angle here just to defend their position, and halfway across this reach, they're going to bear away and go a little quicker towards the finishing line.
So the pedal is down and the pressure is on. The Americans, Oracle Team USA, poised to take their first win, wheeling the boat towards the finish line ahead of the dominant Emirates Team New Zealand so far. You can hear the crowds on shore starting to cheer. They know they have done it. Race number 4 belongs to Oracle Team USA. What a relief. What a moment for the Americans. There's the difference. 8 seconds the Kiwis cross behind their first loss of the regatta.
And these guys are stoked up. They look at them high-fiving each other. They're having an awesome day. You know, Jimmy pats on the back for JK, and what do you know? We got a boat race.
We certainly do. So the Kiwi command has been cracked, and the winning streak has been broken by those flags, by the American team, by USA, by that man at the wheel. Jimmy Spithill has taken his first win in the regatta. How about that view? America's Cup Park. A lot of American fans happy right now. That's the hometown team. And Nathan, you were right. 1-all for both boats today.
What did I tell you? I had a good chat to Dean and Jimmy. I said, guys, come on, just give us one each. Give us something to talk about. And man, didn't they do that? They did an amazing job. Both teams. Was it 8 seconds in the end at the finish?
8 seconds.
Who said this America's Cup wasn't going to be close?
It is incredibly close. There's both flags, the Kiwis and the Americans. That was quite a match. They are just drinking it all in right now. They have earned their keep in this race. You think there's some happy fans representing the hometown?
Sounds like
here in San Francisco?
I can see you got a massive grin on your face. Good to see you cheering for the Americans in here. It's
well, I'm just lucky to have the right accent for this race. Wow. Well, that is a happy and a calm Jimmy Spithill. Relief across his face. There's a little smile just cracking there. They'll sprint away from America's Cup Park. Now it's the Kiwis' turn to do a flyby for their fans. Dean Barker still leading the regatta, to be fair, but probably not happy with that loss.
No, and it all came back to the start again, didn't it? You know, they got themselves at the windward end. They liked starting at the windward end, and that allowed Jimmy to take the inside rounding at Mark 1. And I thought they did a great job. They fought really hard to get back into the race. They put Oracle under all sorts of pressure, but you know, after leading 3 different times now, Oracle Team USA finally worked out how to stay ahead.
Tell you what, it was a nail-biter all the way around the track. I mean, every time this team has gotten in front of the Kiwis, they haven't been able to defend, keep them behind until this race, and it really came right down to the sprint to the finish.
It did. It came down. I was thinking down that last run, I'm like, I've sailed these boats myself. I know what it's like. I know how much pressure you're under every time you have to do a jibe. Once you're around the last mark in a straight line, it's relatively simple, but those last 2 jibes, there was so much pressure on both teams.
Definitely back and forth downwind with them. At times we gain, at times they gain.
You can hear John Kostecki talking to Jimmy Spithill about the race.
Yeah, they were just talking about how back and forth it was. One moment, you know, they'd make a small gain and gain 15 metres. The next moment, you know, Emirates Team New Zealand would make a small gain. And
Like we would have had a nice lead if we had a nice dive around the bottom there. I don't know what happened.
And that's the boys there talking about that jibe on the first run. They're like, they didn't know what happened. And, you know, from our footage, it looked like the leeward board popped up in the air just before the jibe. And the whole boat's flying on this board. And when it shoots up to the boat, the hull goes in. And that's a risky moment. The bow went down pretty hard. The boat stops, but they recovered nicely.
I heard Spithill say must have pushed the button.
Yeah, well, you got these buttons on board to control the rake back and forward, and their boards go up and down with hydraulics. They're not on ropes and winches, so someone has to push a button to let the board up. And I heard Tom Slingsby say, just as you mentioned, I must have pushed the button at the wrong moment, or maybe I flicked the wrong switch, and these things happen all the time.
There's Emirates Team New Zealand. There's Dean Barker on the back of the boat. Let's hear his thoughts on the race.
As we go on board Emirates Team New Zealand. All right, Dean, you were successful in race number 1. What was the difference in race number 2, and what did they do, or was it a case of you guys not executing like you should have?
They started a really good race. You know, their time on distance at the start was pretty nice. You know, we thought they might have been a bit late when they tacked, but they managed just to get back to the start line right on time, so they had a little bit of momentum. Were strong at Mark 1, and then they just got a really nice bit of pressure out of the gate, which we didn't quite, out of the Mark 1, which we didn't quite get. So they opened up a pretty nice little lead, and yeah, again we battled back into it upwind. You know, boat's going well upwind, but unfortunately we just couldn't quite get enough to make it pass.
Dino, take us to that first leeward gate. You guys all of a sudden come dashing in at the last second. Then you have the long starboard tack towards San Francisco waterfront. You guys couldn't stick there, you couldn't keep it, or you wanted to go back out into the middle?
Well, Nathan, let's go back through that race. Let's review it and see how it went down. Of course, we begin where we always do, at the start, and it was a good one for both teams.
Yeah, good one for both teams. Look at them crossing line here doing 36, 37 knots. Both a little bit late, but again, Jimmy likes the leeward position. That allows him to have the inside overlap and bearing away whenever he wants. You can see him taking Dean off the course, Dean being conservative here, and then Jimmy rips the boat away when he wants to go.
So the first time we've seen the two teams not head for the top mark. Jimmy Spithill in command, luffs the Kiwis, then takes an early lead around mark number 1. Now on board. The next move will be a jibe. This is Emirates Team New Zealand. So after the jibe, heading downwind, now we'll go to mark number 2 at the bottom of the track. And there's where we see a mistake from the American boat.
And look at the boat speed go down. The bows go in the water, they go from 35 knots straight down to 20, and watch it drop here.
Ooh. Oh, that's a lot like the nosedive we saw from the Kiwis back in race 1 in the Louis Vuitton Cup, but they recover and they stay out in front. Here's a look from on board. Hold your breath.
And look at that, the board on the left-hand side of the picture shoots up in the air. Someone's pushed the button, releases the hydraulic valve, and down goes the boat.
Whoops.
But the best thing that happened there is that they made sure that New Zealand followed them. So yes, they lost a lot of ground here. Boats come in really close together. But when you're leading, you want the boat behind you to follow you around that bottom mark. So not the end of the world.
Well, that was perhaps the most impressive part of the race. They stayed ahead of them upwind for the first time in the regatta. Now left-hand gate at the top mark, and an Oracle Team USA heads inshore ahead of the Kiwis.
Exactly, and they lead around that left mark. New Zealand come out around the right mark, and I really liked, even though the Kiwis were behind, they were still giving themselves a chance to get into this race, making a split at the top mark, getting through this barrowway nicely. A little bit stressful these moments in the barrowways and trying to find your angle and get your balance. And when you're behind, you're pushing the boat even harder to make sure you catch up. And on this final leg here, we'll see how tight the racing becomes.
Well, it did get a little bit closer. Leg 4 heading downwind. Oracle Team USA with the Kiwis just on their windward hip. And as you said, those last 2 jives into the bottom mark had to be perfect. Here we go.
They had to be. You're only 2 boat lengths ahead here doing 40 knots. That's about 3 or 4 seconds of time, and massive losses if you get it wrong.
And massive win for Oracle Team USA, crossing the line, their first victory in the America's Cup. What a fantastic race it was. You might not have been able to see all of it with the fog, but you can see the score right now. 1 point to Oracle Team USA to Emirates Team New Zealand's 3.
Oh, folks, we have got a boat race on our hands. Amazing. We are here with Brad Butterworth, 4-time winner of the America's Cup, and Chris Draper, the helmsman for Luna Rossa. So, lads, we'll go straight to you, Chris. I mean, amazing. Oracle Team USA came back. They needed to, right?
Yeah, I mean, they threw the kitchen sink at them, and they sailed a great race. They made one little mistake, but other than that, they really played to their strengths, especially Jimmy really played to his match racing, aggressive skills, and it was really impressive. Great to watch.
Brad, you were talking about some of the psychology, Oracle Team USA. They put their big boy pants on and came racing in this afternoon, right?
Yeah, I think they learned from the race earlier, and they saw they have a few weaknesses, but I think the more wind strength played into their hands. They looked a lot more comfortable.
Do you think this is, this is a trend? Is the trend your friend? Can they take this forwards?
I think that, it's going to be close. It's going to be tight, and that's what I think. More wind, I think they looked a lot better.
Okay, well, let's just delve into the race a little more. Let's look at the start line, as Oracle got a really good job on the start. And Chris, they just pulled the trigger and got off the line really well here.
Yeah, I thought Oracle attacked, come back at the line too late, and I think Team New Zealand thought that as well. And Oracle just timed their run absolutely perfectly to be at full speed, and Team New Zealand had to kill their speed a bit. And then Jimmy, he played a very aggressive move to drag the game upwind, and then timed it beautifully to bear away with a really nice puff that set them up to extend down this leg 1.
Brad, this was a nice tactic from Oracle Team USA, pushing them up, and when they bore away, they had more distance, right?
Yeah, I think he gets something for free there, but they look a little quicker on that 90-degree reach.
And why do you think they're slightly quicker when we saw them today? That's the real first time we've seen it on the first reach. Clear air?
No, I think they've been probably quicker on it, all the reaches, but, just today they could really, make it work, make it happen.
Well, it wasn't without some errors from Oracle Team USA. They got down to the leeward mark, and they had they bumped the boat down a bit. How does that happen? Was it a crew error, Chris?
Oh, there's so many ducks to a line for the jibes, and I think what happened, their daggerboard system is a little bit different to most of the other boats. I think they're using hydraulics a lot, so if someone just nudges a button just a fraction early, I'm imagining that that's what caused the board to pop up just a little bit too early before they'd actually turn the boat onto the new jibe. So, so the bow dived down, and there's no foiling element anymore, and that cost them pretty dearly and nearly cost them the race.
Brad, you could see Emirates Team New Zealand just caught right up with them. That just gives us an example when you're at 200 meters ahead. It only takes a few seconds to catch that back up. Oracle, not so good there.
No, I think, well, they made one little mistake, but I think they knew exactly what had happened, so you probably won't see them make that mistake in the future.
Well, Emirates Team New Zealand made a couple too. We're going to just have a look at the whole upwind leg. We'll go to virtual eye, and you guys can just talk us through some of this. Here we are at the bottom mark as they go upwind. Brad, talk us through it.
Well, Oracle did a lot better job in this part of the course than they did in the first race by sailing quite fast to start with and then closing the gauge between the two boats. So eventually Team New Zealand's got to tack away.
And how much dirty air comes off the boat when they're just to windward like that, Chris?
Yeah, there's a fair bit of dirty air, but I think the biggest thing was by having to tack there, Team New Zealand had to head out into adverse tide. And JK and Slingsby and those guys managed to put the boat into a lot less current, so they just pulled out. That's where they pulled out that sort of 100 meters, and then Team New Zealand just kept on nibbling away at them. But I mean, Team New Zealand made a lot more errors up that upwind than I think we've ever seen them make. I heard Dean and Razor having some issues with their comm system, and I think they kept on popping up on the foil a little bit more than they'd have liked to, and things like that. They were right on the edge of foiling a bit too much some of the time. So it was the first time we've seen some errors from them, and I guess Oracle have been pushing them so hard that it's always going to happen.
Well, they got real close here to within 50 meters. Brad, Coach Butterworth, what do you think? What do you think Oracle Team USA did here? Better?
Actually, I think Team New Zealand made a few mistakes. They looked out of sorts with more wind, and they looked like they weren't really sailing the boat at their optimum. You know, the boat sort of foiling halfway up the beat, and little things sort of add up to a big deal here.
Well, we've got a few pictures, I think, of Oracle Team USA and Emirates Team New Zealand foiling upwind. Look here in the background. Talk to us about what's going on here, Chris. Look at Emirates Team New Zealand.
Yeah, I think the boats are effectively skimming, and what happens is with all the aerodynamic package that's on the boat, if it just gets a tiny little angle, if the bow just comes up a tiny bit, then it starts to sky the boat, and you have to remove a huge amount of rake on the daggerboard to get it back down. I think that's what happened on that upwind, and I think that's something that Oracle were managing very, very nicely on that upwind today.
So, Brad, it is all on. I mean, we thought it would be a boat race. The Kiwis, do you think the first 3 race wins for the Kiwis was as a result of how they were race ready, they were trained in the Louis Vuitton Cup Challenger Series?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they sail very well. Dean Barker's, one of the best sailors in the world for sure, and they've got there through doing a great job, and I think that they'll get better too. Believe me, they've got a long way to go. They know that, but Oracle are going to get better also each race, and you see they sailed the boat totally differently in the second race than the first race. They didn't get any close quarter action. They stretched it out, and these guys are smart. Him and Kostecki, they're good sailors.
Right, these are good sailors. This is the America's Cup after all. Chris, what are your thoughts? Has the pendulum started to swing in favour of the defender?
I think Oracle will take massive confidence in today, but the reality is that they had to sail a perfect race, and Team New Zealand made a good few mistakes. So, and Oracle have also got the penalty, so it's effectively 3-1 right now. So it's still a big mountain to climb, but for sure, those guys will take a lot of confidence from today. They obviously reacted well to what they learned from yesterday, and I think it's going to increase and continue to get closer.
Well, they're racing again on Tuesday. Brad, any likelihood of any changes? It'll probably be just small tweaks to the boats.
Yeah, I think that it's not that. Team New Zealand lost a race. I think it's quite good for them. That's where you learn, and I think they'll come out stronger.
Okay, Chris, final words. Can Oracle Team USA take this trend forwards and keep winning?
I think whatever happens, the race is going to be massive ding-dongs. And, I mean, everybody in the room that I was sat on the edge of the seat is awesome, and it's great to see in these boats.
Okay, well, drama abounds all around America's Cup Park here, and if you're not here, get yourself down here. The atmosphere, incredible. We've got more races. We had 2 of those today, split 1-1. Super stuff. We are looking forward to our next racing. Brilliant.
Historian Bob Fisher has reported on 15 America's Cups over the past 46 years, many involving a U.S. legend who became known as Mr. America's Cup.
The 12-metre era is encapsulated really by Dennis Conner. I mean, He's the man who did more time in 12 metres than anybody else. And certainly he had a string of successes. He also lost the Cup in 12 metres, but he regained it. Yeah, he had some great moments too.
Ticker tape parade up Fifth Avenue and the lunch in the White House, and all those long days and sleepless nights were pretty easy to forget.
He also had moments of utter despair. I shall never forget seeing him coming ashore after he'd lost the Cup in 1983.
My life came completely apart and I was shattered. No, I wanted to see it in Newport the rest of my life.
But he was back on form when he got out to Australia, and in Fremantle took the Cup back in a dominant manner. Dennis had some very magic moments in press conferences that were all his own, one-liners which he probably regrets having said. Certainly one that he said in Fremantle on occasion when he accused the Kiwis of cheating by building a boat in glass fibre, which was perfectly allowable.
So if you want to build a glass boat, why would you do it unless you wanted to cheat?
Whoa, whoa. I don't think he should have said that, but
I'll take it all back.
I don't think you can, Dennis.
And he had another one later on when he was sailing a catamaran against the big boat in 1988.
I'm sailing a cat. Somebody else is sailing a dog.
Dennis Conner was without doubt Mr. America's Cup. You can't think of 12 metres and America's Cup without thinking of your man there, Dennis Conner.
So day number 4 of the America's Cup comes to a close, and the score is 3-1, the Kiwis over the Americans. And Nathan, Oracle Team USA has shown us they've got what it takes to win.
Yeah, they finally got there. They've been showing that they have the chance, they have the possibility to win. And today they made no errors in that final race, and they wrapped it up nicely. So really impressive to see, and looking forward to Tuesday's race.
Really impressive and really exciting. These first 2 days of the America's Cup have proven that the September showdown here in San Francisco is shaping up to be all we'd hoped it would be, with each team proving now they can win. If things stay as they are, it looks like we could go the distance in this best of 17 series for the 34th America's Cup. Tomorrow is an important day off, and the teams will regroup before racing resumes this Tuesday. Will Emirates Team New Zealand maintain their lead, or will Oracle Team USA find a way to shift the match in their favor? We'll see. For Nathan Outteridge and Andy Green, I'm Tucker Thompson.